So the day has finally arrived. We are actually doing the final bar in the Harry Potter soap series, which is Cuckoo Bananas, because I am shocked. I think it's the final bar. Yeah, I think it's totally the final bar. And I'm shocked because like this is my house. This is my house bar. And I'm very excited to do my house bar with you today. But before we do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for day 257, yes, of 365 days of soap, and today we are making the Ravenclaw bar. So for House Ravenclaw, Harry Potter, all of the things. Super exciting. Now, all the house bars, they do have the same striped pattern that goes through, and then we cut it on the diagonal and pour over the top of it, and so that's awesome. But today I'm going to actually try to do the stripes right and have patience and actually mix them all up between layers to show you a proper layered soap. And, you know, we'll see whether or not I have the patience to actually stick through it for 7 layers, because that's a lot. And me and layers, we don't get along. So let's go check out the pour, and I will talk to you more about the bar and all of the things, you know, in the video. So we're finally doing the Ravenclaw bar, you guys. House Ravenclaw. And that's awesome because I am a Ravenclaw, and so is George May, actually. And one of the other Soaprentices is a Hufflepuff, and I think the only ones we don't actually have accounted for in the whole Soap and Clay whatever is a Gryffindor, which is interesting. I mean, Soap and Clay Kidlet #1 thinks that she's a Gryffindor, but you know, I mean, she's 8, so she can't even take the test yet. So there's that. But yes, so this is just like all of the other house bars, right? So it's a 2-day pour, and in one pour, I'm doing the stripes. And I had decided, I think back when we did the Gryffindor, because this bar has always been 9 layers. 9. That's a lot of layers, right? Especially for me, because I hate layers. And there's that. There you go. But actually, after filming the Bubble Puff and talking about it on the channel, I kind of realized there really doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to have 9 layers when there are 7 books, right? And so for the Gryffindor, I changed the layering to 7 layers, and that's what I'm doing for this guy too. Now, notice the thinness of the batter for this. This is I'm soaping it just at an emulsion, keeping the batter really, really thin, and I'm going to then take my stick to each layer as I weigh it out to thicken it up before putting it into the mold. That is my thinking with this, because that is what I would consider the right way to do layers. Keep the majority of your batter fluid, really, really, really liquid, and then when you are ready to pour it into the mold, take your stick back to it and thicken it up, so then you can move on to the next, you know, round without having to wait too terribly long while it sets up in the mold. This is my thinking, this is what I am doing, and you know, as to whether or not I actually end up doing it, it's another story entirely. Like, again, this is the right way to do layers in my mind. But I usually only get like 1 or 2 passes in before I just get tired of doing it that way, and I keep dirtying my stick, and it's all a thing, and so whatever. So let's see if I actually do it right. So pour number 1 was in, and as you can see, it's the blue's still a little wobbly, but it's not bad. And yeah, okay, totally good. Yep. And then it's actually, I mean, it's firm enough in there that I can do that with the copper, so that's good. It's totally working out. This is something that this is one of the reasons why I hate layers so much. I mean, I have lots of reasons why I hate layers, but this is one of them. Working with kind of a thick batter and then pushing everything down from the side walls to get it all smooth in the inside. And it's just, it's so tedious. And some soapers really, really love this process, and they really love layers and all the things. But I am not one of the soapers. I find it to be very tedious, and I don't like tedium. But, you know, there are probably a lot of soapers out there that find the things that I super love very tedious. Like, how could you find swirls tedious, though, I wonder? Because that's like my favorite thing to do ever, still to this day, swirls. Just swirls. It's all random and beautiful and cool. So yeah, no, I'm guessing it's probably more because I'm just like I'm a super impatient person, and all of the other soap makers are just so much better than me at being patient to do the things, and that's cool. I love it. That's awesome. But yeah, no, this continues to be the process over and over and over again for 7 layers until they are all in the mold and, you know, it's ready to go. This is actually getting kind of thick. Now, one of the reasons why it's getting thick is this is a rosemary mint blend, because this is book 4 in the game, or the Harry Potter inspired, you know, soap line, which is cool. And book 4 for Harry Potter is the why is this killing me? This is okay, now I'm confused actually. Is this book 3 or book 4? I gotta check this real quick. It's book 3. So Ravenclaw is book 3 in my line. So it goes Gryffindor is book 1, Slytherin's is book 2, Ravenclaw's is book 3. And so this is the Rosemary of Azkaban, because, you know, book 3 in the Harry Potter series is the Prince of Azkaban. Now it's all making sense. So yeah, Rosemary of Azkaban. But for me, I have noticed that whenever I put mint in, especially peppermint, into my blends, it tends to accelerate trace. So even at working at an emulsion, it's still getting a little bit thick, so it's really not super necessary that I use the stick anymore. But it still kind of is. Not super necessary, but quasi-necessary. And so, yeah, like, this is the point with all of my pours wherein I'm just like, no, I'm done. I'm done with all of my layered pours. I'm just done. I'm not gonna take the stick out anymore and mix it. I'm just gonna keep being, you know, stubborn and doing it the wrong way, essentially, and just, you know, I'll spoon it on, because that's got to be easier than dirtying my stick blender again, right? It's not. It's not, is the thing. That's not logical. That's a stupid logical leap. It's not. I should have gotten out my stick blender again, because this takes way more time. And so at the end of this, I'm still frustrated, and I'm frustrated for longer, essentially. And then I still have to wait for like the next layer to set up, for this copper to set up enough to put the blue on, and the blue's already getting pretty thick, and so it's all a thing. And yeah, that's yes, this is my life. This is my life. But you know what, Harry Potter is also is really cool, and like I devoted, you know, gosh, I don't know. How long did it take for all the books to come out? Like a decade? So I devoted like a decade of my life to, you know, patiently waiting for books to come out, and then sometime after that, while all the movies came out, and I still read the books pretty regularly. Like the Soap and Clay Kidlets are actually old enough to read them now, and so they read them to me, which is super awesome. So, I mean, I've devoted a lot of my life being patient and waiting for new Harry Potter stuff. So I should learn to devote some of my life to being patient for the house bars for the or the Harry Potter soaps for the house bars, and I still haven't. Here's the thing though, it all totally comes out in the wash because like the whole point of this gets cut on the diagonal because Diagon Alley, Harry Potter when he first, yeah. And this gets cut on the diagonal and then put back into a bigger mold, and then white gets poured over it. But the reason that I went with this stripey thing for all of the house bars is because I wanted it to look like a scarf, right? And so even if the lines aren't completely like straight, it totally works because scarves, they're never like straight unless you know, straighten them out on the floor and look at them. But when you're wearing them, they fold because fabric. And so the lines are always not, you know, straight. So it works either way, but at some point I will actually put forth the effort and all of the care and the patience that I did for the first batch of all of these that I made years and years ago when I was trying to perfect a, you know, whatever, and, you know, do it that way. But for now, I set out with the best of intentions, and then at the end of it, I am just annoyed and irritated. Actually, this pour is going really beautifully, though. It really is going very well. This last section is the only real exception, though, because the copper is still a little bit thin, and the blue is very thick. So that's definitely going to dip down into that last layer. I feel like it did a pretty good job throughout, you know, the first 5-6 layers, but now it's, you know, really thick blue going onto the copper that, again, I should have taken my stick to and thickened up, and I don't, and I'm dumb, and, you know, all of the things. And so, yeah, like on the 7th layer, I think I probably wrecked the whole design, and I was reasonably irritated with myself at this point, because as I'm scooping the blue into the mold on top of the copper, I'm telling myself, you should have taken your stick blender to the copper. What is the matter with you? What is wrong with you? This is taking longer. Why do you hate cleaning off the head of your stick blender? What is the problem? Over and over and over again, as I am trying to smooth out this very last layer that I am convinced completely screwed up the layer underneath it. And so I'm super upset and irritated and done, and, you know, whatever. But this is going to go in the mold for, or the oven for C-pop, and then we cut it in half. You know, that's basically how I felt at the end of all that. That's pretty accurate. Although I don't know why I'm flipping off the soap, because again, it was my own stupid fault. I knew exactly what to do with this, and I didn't do it. So I've never actually shown you guys the cut of these things before and how I get them to cut diagonally. And that's how. Just one of those guys. And I just, you know, end to end there and cut it in half. It's easy, see? But yeah, you see that top layer there? The blue totally went into, oh, that's on the bottom layer. No, that's the top as well. But yeah, that top layer, it totally did the thing. And that's unfortunate. But I also have, because I was also making the Gryffindor bars at the same time. And so here's one that, you know, actually went better for me, and I was more, you know, patient on with the Gryffindor. And so I'm going to cut those and see if it actually made any difference for me to be more patient in the, you know, sculpt or the layered soap things. And so we're just going to cut it. It's like soap cutting ASMR or something. It's a thing, I guess. See? And I ended up getting impatient to the top of that one too at the end of that pour as well. Or something. So it's always, like I said, I can get a couple in and then it just doesn't work anymore. I cannot be patient. I can only be patient for so long. And this particular pour, just doing the bottom layer, it's a good 45-minute pour. This, however, is not. It's just more fresh soap batter, put on top of it, scrape everything in, cover it up, put it in the oven for C-pop so everything can adhere really well, and then it's on to the cut. And the cut of this guy is actually pretty easy, although this one has some problems. but they get cleaned up in the, you know, they get cleaned up when we plane and bevel and do all the things. So it's not a big deal. It's a very soft bar right now, so if there are any holes or whatever, we can totally fill them in. But with this one, there never is. The only thing that I ever have a problem with is A, where the two pieces meet, right, in the mold for the striped version, or two, if they seep around the side of the striped version, if the white seeps around the side. Both of those are fixed with just putting in with just planing it though. So just take it to your planer and scrape that part off, and then everything's fine. And so yeah, that is the Ravenclaw bar. Now with all of the bars for the Harry Potter soaps, well, all the house bars, since they're all uniform in design, they're just changing the colors to represent each of the houses. They all get stamped, much like all of the Game of Thrones, the Game of Soaps do as well. And so they all get stamped with their own crest. And so, you know, this one is no different. The Raven Cleanse bars get stamped with the awesome, you know, bird for the Ravenclaw house. And I do not show you the stamping for this one because actually I had Georgia May stamp them because I was super done with the Harry Potter bars at this point. But this is what they look like when they're all stamped. And aren't they super cute and awesome? Yes, they're lovely. And that's the thing, like, even if the lines didn't quite match up and they were a little bit wonky for the striped version, it doesn't matter. The stamp covers up the majority of the bar and it's not terrible. And that still looks like a scarf blowing in the breeze. And so it's cool. And I super love all of the Harry Potter bars, but this one especially because I am a Ravenclaw, and that is day 257, the Raven Cleanse. And there it is, the Ravenclaw soap. And yeah, it's my bar. It's mine. And I love the Ravenclaw soap because it's my bar, and it's like rosemary mint because the rosemary of Azkaban, like whatever. I had a lot of fun naming all of the different Harry Potter soaps for sure, and then creating all the boxes and everything that go with them. So it's been cool. If you liked the Raven Cleanse bar and you're interested in that or any of the other Harry Potter soaps, yeah, they're on the website at soapandclay.com. If you're interested in more soapy antics and seeing what other themed things we do, because we have a lot of themed products that are just like brewing in our minds, like we want to do this, subscribe to the channel because we do crazy stuff. We've done Game of Thrones and Harry Potter and Taylor Swift and others, a lot of others, right? We like themes. And so yeah, subscribe. You can be part of the Sudzer family. I would love to have you. And for those of you who are part of the Sudzer family, hey, thanks. I love to have you. Thank you for existing in, you know, my soapy life. I really appreciate that. I am done for the day. I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of 365 days of soap. Bye.